Welcome to SGT Times Explainer. I am Arshnoor Kaur. Today we'll discuss how global warming is fueling food inflation in India. Indian people have been trying to cope with the growing prices of key vegetables such as onions, tomatoes, ginger and lemons, the prices of which have virtually quadrupled, burning a hole in Indian customer purses. Rising tomato prices had the greatest impact on Indian residents as the important vegetables cost rose during July and August, impacted by low yield caused by climate change and harsh weather conditions in particular locations. India is now experiencing a food inflation problem with prices of basic food goods skyrocketing. This inflation is being driven by global warming, which is disrupting the rain and sun cycles that keep the country supplied. Researchers at the European Central Bank and the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research investigated the impacts of climate change on food prices and inflation, discovering that sustained global warming is expected to raise food prices by 0.6 to 3.2 percentage points by 2060. Domestic food price inflation remains strong over the world. According to the World Bank, with inflation levels more than 5% in 70.6% of low-income nations, 90.9% of lower middle-income countries, and 87% of upper middle-income countries. Demand shocks such as a stock market boom or expansionary policies can enhance general demand and economic growth for a short period of time. If an economy's demand exceeds its production capability, the consequent strain on resources is expressed in demand pull inflation. Higher energy prices have contributed to excruciatingly high inflation, driven people into poverty, forced some firms to reduce output or even close down, and harmed vulnerable households in industrialized nations. Looking ahead, prolonged global warming is expected to raise food costs, perhaps driving up inflation in the coming years. Ultimately, global warming is driving up food prices in India and throughout the world. Global warming and climate change have become major contributors to food inflation not just in India but globally. The Earth's rising temperature has caused an unpredictable environment resulting in even more extreme inflation. Climate change has had a significant influence on India, with increased weather catastrophes and rising temperatures throughout the summer season, disrupting the supply chains. One of the key reasons for the increase in tomato and onion costs is climate change. Escalating heat, uncertain rainfall, and escalating weather catastrophes have hampered agricultural productivity in India, causing tomato prices to reach Rs 150 to 200 per kg across the northern regions, contributing significantly to the country's total inflation. Excessive use of energy sources has increased power prices for low-income households, contributing to inflation. Heavy rains in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and other northern states have severely disrupted the supply chains in numerous regions of India, producing a lack of critical crops, pushing up prices, and triggering significant food inflation. Vegetables and fruits account for more than 6% of overall inflation in India. Thus, doubling the cost can eventually lead to rising prices for other important commodities like energy, processed food, water, and even more. That concludes today's SGT Times Explainer. Thank you for your precious time.